Happy Thursday. Welcome in. It's Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Brendan Glasheen, joined by Tanner McGrath once again to break down today's MLB slate. ALDS action continues. The Tigers with the 2-1 series lead over the Guardians, and the Yankees with a 2-1 series lead over the Royals. There were 4 games yesterday. Some excellent theater again in these MLB playoffs. Francisco Lindor carrying the Mets to a series win. So we know one team that is moving on. The Mets are in the NLCS. The Dodgers force a Game 5 that'll happen on Friday in the NLDS. But for our purposes, we're going to focus on these 2 games and then get the heck out of here. So 6:08 p.m. Eastern, first pitch, Guardians-Tigers. Cleveland, Tanner tries to force a Game 5. What is their path with Bibby on the mound? I mean, this is a guy they saved this guy purposefully for a spot like this.
Yes, you're right. And that's where I wanted to start today because I adore this note from Sean Zerillo in today's opening pitch column. You should check that out on the Action Network app and the Action Network website. So Tanner, starter for the Guardians today, he threw 13. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. He threw 13 sinkers in Game 1. He has thrown 9 total over the past 2 regular seasons. Now, why is that important? It's important for 2 reasons. So just for some context, the sinker was his most used pitch in college at Cal State Fullerton. Now, the Guardians, they don't use sinkers. It's philosophical. They're only a four-seam fastball guy. But the Tigers are much worse against sinkers than they are against four-seam fastballs. They posted a 750 OPS and a 340 expected WOBA against four-seam fastballs this year, both league average marks. They posted a 670 OPS and a 320 expected WOBA against sinkers, last and fourth to last marks, respectively. Second reason why this is really important, Tanner and the rest of the Guardians rotation, they have a home run problem. All of them have home run problems because they throw too many hard fastballs in the zone. And Tanner Beebe has a very flat fastball that if he leaves it just a little bit too middle, it's going out of the park. And Tanner is not as bad as some of the other guys on staff, but like a 35% ground ball rate paired with an 11% home run to fly ball rate over the past 2 seasons, that's in the realm of a home run problem. So utilizing this pitch, even at just a little bit more than he has been, I think, 13 pitches across, I think he threw 60 or 70. That's not a huge usage, but it has a 2-pronged effect of minimizing his home run problem just a little bit via more weak contact while helping to neutralize the Tiger bats. I mean, especially the right-handed Tiger bats, because BB threw 11 of his 13 sinkers against righties. Only 3 of them ended up in play, but 2 generated ground balls, including a key Spencer Torkelson double play in the 4th inning. It was very smart game planning by manager Stephen Vogt, and I expect more of it here in Game 4. And I generally like BB overall. His fastball can play, even though it's flat. It's just kind of a big fastball. The stuff plus marks on his secondary pitches are really high because he generates a ton of break on his slider and changeup, like huge amounts of break. And he hasn't pitched well against Detroit in his career. Obviously, these two face each other a lot. But he pieced together 11 innings of 3-run ball in 2 head-to-head starts against them this year. And of course, he tossed 4 2/3 shutout innings in Game 1 behind increased sinker usage. And the Tigers' 3-0 win yesterday means that Cleveland got to rest some of their higher leverage relievers. Guys like Emmanuel Clase and Hunter Gaddis haven't pitched in 3 days. Cade Smith tossed only 3 pitches yesterday. And this is still baseball's best bullpen. And with the Guardians in a do-or-die spot, and with most of their high leverage guy rested, you can expect Vogt and the Guardians to be very aggressive with their bullpen usage. Even if Tanner pitches well, as I expect him to, you will see a lot of good relievers thrown in there today and a lot of matchup-based game planning. And I talked about this on yesterday's podcast too, which went well. The Tigers don't hit righties at home well. They posted a 87 WRC plus in that split this season. That was 27th among MLB lineups. So yesterday, my handicap was I wasn't sure if the Guardians were going to score a run, and they didn't. Today, however, I'm not sure if the Tigers are going to score a run. I don't love how they match up here against either the starting pitcher or all of these good rested Cleveland relievers that are going to be used aggressively. I'm still unsure if the Guardians will score in Detroit, because the problem with Cleveland is they're a soft contact based lineup and they dominated at home this season because of massively increased park factors at Progressive Field. But if you take the Guardians out of Cleveland, their soft fly ball contact goes from home runs to flyouts. It's why they posted a 79 WRC plus away from home in the second half. Jose Ramirez had a few swings yesterday where I thought that would have been a homer in Cleveland, but it's not going anywhere in Detroit, the ballpark with the sixth lowest park factor in MLB. And of course, there's cold weather now in Detroit. The hitting conditions there are just brutal. Now, here's the problem though. My biggest question surrounding the Tigers moving forward in the playoffs, can the chaos method work in back-to-back days? Because they have not yet had to do that in these playoffs, right? The closest they came was the transition from game 2 of the wild card against Houston to game 1 of the division series. And the staff got pounded for 7 runs. Look at the state of the bullpen for today. Brant Herter isn't available. Bo Brisky likely isn't available. Yeah. Will Vest tossed over 20 pitches yesterday and a dozen on Monday. Tyler Holton and Sean Gunther each tossed over 10 pitches yesterday. Asking your staff, your bullpen, to cover 18 consecutive innings of baseball via multi-inning relief appearances is an unusual ask, even for a bullpen as deep as Detroit's. Like that it's a lot of innings to cover. And while it works easily when you have Tarek Skubal eating up a ton of innings in the middle, in one game, allowing yourself to reset your bullpen, I'm worried that it won't work without Skubal breaking it up. Of course, Reese Olson will get some bulk work today, but I'm still lower on him than Tanner Beebe either way, right? Olson's stuff plus, location plus, and batted ball metrics are all worse than Tanner's, and his strikeout minus walk rate is about 6 points lower. So overall, I really like this matchup for the Guardians. I think they steal this one behind an elite 9-inning pitching performance, and I think Detroit is due to give up a few runs in Chaos Day 2, especially before Skubal takes the mound for the all-important Game 5. You can still get close to minus 115 on the Guardians. I like them anything under minus 120. I guess I like the under. Zerillo's on the under. A lot of action guys are going to be betting the under, mostly because the hitting conditions are going to be disgusting in Detroit today. Already a pitcher's park, but cold temps, high air pressure, winds blowing in towards home plate, 2 struggling lineups, 2 elite bullpens. But I'm not betting an under 6.5 unless it's plus money. I just can't do it. So give me the Guardians. I think they force Game 5.
All right. That's excellent analysis as far as the I'm fascinated by your analysis as far as now, because I watched that Guardians lineup yesterday, and I'm thinking, like, what happened to these guys? That they put the ball in play, they were striking out way more than they normally do. But now you think that's going to flip in this particular game today because of Bibby and what his capability is on the mound. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right, there you go. As you said, a lot of our guys are on the under. Now that number's come down to 6.5. So you missed your chance.
I think it's too low unless you can get plus money on the 6.5. Like I'm just not going to bet an under 6.5 minus 110 in any baseball game, even if this is the lowest possible run scoring environment that you can have in a baseball game.
It feels like with totals in any of these games, they've kind of fluctuated last minute before the game actually starts.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
half run, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy in the playoffs.
Playoff baseball, you're going to have higher betting volume too, especially compared to like September ball. So the books are going to adjust these lines more than you're used to.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too, to be quite honest. I think we all are.
We all are.
I mean, we were on yesterday together for the first time in like 3 weeks, so it's kind of true.
Yeah, exactly.
For content purposes as well. All right, Yankees and Royals, New York up 2-1. Stanton delivers the home run late to give them a 3-2 lead. Stanton was excellent in game number 3. Garrett Cole, with a chance to put this series away, faces Michael Wacha. So the Yankees are favored minus 154 to take game 4 and end this thing. Totals at 7.5. A lot of you guys are on the over in game 3. I see Zerillo. We'll talk about Cole in a second. Zerillo likes over 7.5. Is this an environment that should produce runs?
So we came on this podcast yesterday and called Kauffman Stadium Coors Light. Yet so many fly balls held up yesterday. I don't know what happened. Soto in the first inning had a 108 mile per hour, 410-foot bomb that stopped at the center field track. It would have been a homer in over half of MLB ballparks. Witt had an 101 mile per hour, 370-foot bomb that held up. Would have been a home run in over a third of MLB ballparks. Torres had a similar shot that held up. Would have been a home run in 13 ballparks. Both Stanton and Gurriel had doubles that would have been homers in over half of baseball ballparks. Judge had an 115-mile-an-hour rocket that ended up being a line out. Melendez had an 107-mile-an-hour, 330-foot rocket that ended up as a line out. Basically, there were 100 million hard-hit balls yesterday that just never found the grass, whether they held up at the track or they went into gloves. I mean, Lugo and Schmidt in their starts combined to allow 16 hard-hit balls across 10 innings. They also combined to allow only 4 runs on 8 hits. I think there should have been several more runs scored yesterday. I think it was just some poor batted ball luck for both teams. So I took the Yankees and the over on this podcast yesterday. That was a split. I'm going back to the well and taking over 7.5 again, minus 120 or better. I make this total 8.5. The biggest handicap here is just 2 below average bullpens, the 2 worst bullpens remaining in the playoff field that now look far overextended. The Yankees' 3 highest leverage relievers, Luke Weaver, Tommy Conley, Clay Holmes.
Weaver's been good.
Weaver's been great, but I do think he's overvalued. Like all the Yankees relievers, they kind of just overperformed this year a little bit.
Sure.
But those 3 guys each tossed over 15 pitches yesterday, and they've each worked 3 times in the past 5 days. The Royals, by the way, deployed 6 relievers in yesterday's 1-run loss, including 5 that threw over 13 pitches. Chris Bubich finally allowed a run after tossing 26 pitches yesterday, and he's up to 48 pitches in his past 3 days. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't available today. John Schreiber and Angel Zerpa have each pitched thrice in the past 5 days. Like, even if these guys are all available, there's a good chance they're not at 100%. And again, we project these as the 2 worst remaining bullpens in the playoff field. These 2 units have much less room for error than someone like the Padres or the Guardians. So regarding the starting pitching matchup, which is an interesting one, Cole and Waka, Garrett Cole had his worst season, arguably ever. Career low strikeout rate, career low stuff plus marks, career high expected run indicators, highest whip since 2017. He's 34. I think he's starting to decline. He did not pitch all that well in game 1 of this series. I don't think his fastball plays as well anymore. I don't think his secondaries do. Meanwhile, Michael Wacha is Mr. Overperformance. He is the embodiment of overperforming because he leverages his changeup and the Royals' elite defense to consistently produce low 3s ERA despite expected run indicators in the 4s. And I tend to avoid betting on or against him because I know this. I know his overperformance. And so it's really hard to assign a value to him or power rate him. For what it's worth, Wacha has faced the Yankees a ton recently because of his time with Boston and Tampa. And he's always pitched really well against them. A sub 2.5 ERA since the beginning of 2021. And I think the reason is because the Yankees don't really hit changeups very well. But the Yankees did get to him in game 1, so I'm hopeful that's going to happen again. And I mean, but overall, like, we'll see some overdue run scoring in this one after yesterday. We know that Kauffman is a high run scoring environment. We know that the Yankees are the best lineup in baseball against right-handed pitching. We know that the Royals are in their better split against right-handed pitching and also hit much better at home. And I have a million questions surrounding the arms that are going to be on the mound for all 9 innings today, especially the bullpens. There could be a lot of runs scored in the latter frames here. And 7.5, it's too low. It's way too low. That's where the total closed between Wacha and Cole in game 1 at Yankee Stadium. But then you have to adjust the total up by 8% based on StatCast park factors, and all the relievers are way less rested. So let's burn some more cash, take another Yankee over. 7.5 minus 120 or better. I also would play 8 at even money.
Okay. Very good. Excellent. Okay. I think that's it. We don't have you tomorrow. So
Nope.
30 seconds or less. Padres going to win this thing tomorrow?
I am pretty worried about the Padres because they're definitely going to be dogs. I'm going to bet them though, I think, because I think that Yamamoto is still hurt. And I think the Padres, I think Darvish looks okay. And I think they have a huge bullpen advantage. And the Padres are going to be very, very aggressive with their bullpen in game 5. And that's the biggest advantage they have over the Dodgers. So I think they sneak it out. I think they win game 5 in LA and move on to face the Mets, which will be an amazing NLCS. I'm very excited to watch that.
Just got to get through the. I mean, look, I know we talked about Cease yesterday, first time on 3 days rest.
It turned out not to be a good idea.
No, let's again. It's easy for us to do that right now, right? But you got to get through those first couple innings. You get burned early. That top of the lineup is so freaking good. It's nightmarish watching those guys in a good way if you're a Dodgers fan. But
the Padres are deeper, and
I know
they're more well rounded. And in an all important game 5, when you can throw the kitchen sink at the Dodgers, I think they do it. I think they can hold them off.
Okay. All right, Tanner McGrath, find him in the Action Network app. Stay tuned for more coverage from him during this MLB postseason as we head into the LCSs next week. Also, keep an eye out for his college basketball work over at the Action Network, actionnetwork.com. Friday's episode, I think for now, we've got BJ Cunningham coming on. Zerillo's a little under the weather, so he's still got Sean Zerillo's still pumping out content online on the app, and especially opening pitch to kind of break down the series. But from a video audio perspective, we'll keep you posted on Sean. He's doing all right, but we'll get him back as soon as we can. But yeah, we're back tomorrow, Friday morning, for Payoff Pitch, and we'll get you set for the weekend. Anything big picture for these playoffs. We are here every weekday during the postseason when there is a game, so be sure to join us right here on Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. For Tanner McGrath, Brendan Glasheen, thanks for tuning in, folks. Enjoy the baseball.